I had 3 children in 3 years, and I lost myself. I almost felt embarrassed a little bit to be a mom that had children at home whilst I was trying to build a business and be professional. When I then came into property full time, I got my spark back. I was happy to be with the children all day and either go to a networking event till 11, half 11 at night, come home, work on my laptop, because it didn't feel like work. This industry is really about giving rather than receiving, and then it will come back tenfold to you.
What would you like to see as a mum in property? How can we improve? How can we change?
So I think
Welcome back to another episode of the Money Honey Show with me, your host, Rosalia Lazzarettilli. And today I have a very special guest who, well, I mean, you're all special. Thank you to all the Money Honeys that have been on the show. But when I say special, it's because the relationship I have with this person is like on 3 dimensions. Like, one, we are industry colleagues, like we are in the industry together, in the property world. 2, we're actually friends, and we share so many of the same values and so many of the same interests. 3, they've actually been a client. Actually, there's 4 layers. They've been a client, like they've been in the world of like the social selling hive event that I did, etc. And 4, I'm their client. So there are so many layers to this person, and I often get the, the expression when people say, like, don't take things personal. Business isn't personal. It so is personal. How can it not be? Like, when you're doing things with people that cross over in so many camps, but you can work together, it does get personal. So I actually find that the reason my relationships with my clients, or whether I'm their client, are so successful is because we make it personal. We can have those heart-to-heart conversations. We can have those honest and open conversations. We're not transactional and corporate and stuffy. We can be ourselves. And that's what I think, or why I think my relationships, whether I'm a client or they're a client of mine, are successful. So for that reason, I wanted to bring this guest on, because there's that element that I want to talk about. There's the whole conversation of branding that I want to talk about and how they built their brand. And also there's the whole topic of mums in property, or mums in business in general, juggling their family and a business. And she's really breaking that stereotype and breaking those barriers in showing people what is actually possible. And that means so much to a show like this, because we want to highlight those stories so that you listening can see yourself in that, or someone that you know, and think, wow, her story really resonated with me or someone I know, and I'm going to share it, because that's what the show is about. So without further ado, I want to bring on the wonderful, talented Chloe Farrelly. How are you, Chloe?
hello, thank you for having me. I'm really well, thank you. How are you?
Really good, thank you. Really, really well. And I know we talk all day, every day on so many different topics. So today's just going to feel like a continuation of all our chats. But for those people who don't know you, Chloe Farrelly from Mums in Property, tell us about yourself and who you are and what you do.
So, yeah, I'm a mum of 3 children, 3 very small children. I'm a property investor, so I invest in renovation projects myself. I'm a property sourcer. I have the Mums in Property podcast, and I also host a female networking event.
And who said you can't do it all? Literally. How many things can you list that you're doing, and you're doing them well, right?
Thank you.
I'm sure you're loving it all, yeah?
Oh, yeah, do you know, it's been a whirlwind, and it's funny because like one opportunity will come up and then it is just such a domino effect, and more opportunities are arising week on week, stuff that I'd not even ever thought of. So yeah, it's been an amazing journey so far. I'm loving it.
And tell us about this journey then. How did you get into it and then become Mums in Property? How did you identify as Chloe Mums in Property?
So, I mean, property itself, I've always been around. So, my family are in construction. So, my uncles, my dad, my granddad, they're all builders. So, that's where it initiated from growing up. And then I just always had a real love for property. And my first business that I had at 18, we moved location. It was a beauty salon. We moved location and we took on a financial offices and we converted it. So that was my first renovation project at 18 that I didn't really know what I was doing. Obviously, we got trades in, but yeah, I got a real feel for transformation and transforming something from boring offices into a fantastic salon. And over the years, obviously, that just grew and developed more. So 18 months ago, well, actually, it's coming up for 2 years ago next month. I took voluntary redundancy from my day job as a business development manager, and I was just about to give birth. So there was lots of change, lots of things happening. And basically that's where I would say my story really started in property, because that's when I really sort of leaned into the fact of being a mum in property, trying to juggle everything.
Yes, and what does exactly does that look like? As in, when you're a mum in property, and some women would argue against that kind of label, like you're Chloe. You know, you don't have to say you're a mum in property, and you're in property. You don't have to identify as woman and da da da. But why does that mean something to you? What does it look like to be a mum in property, and why does that have such a strong, prominent identity in your brand?
So I think for me, I had 3 children in 3 years, which was very intense.
Oh my God, if you could see my face on YouTube.
Not planned. So it was a lot to go through, and my life changed overnight, as it does with children. But I went from jet setting the world, and that was my passion, being very career driven, to all of a sudden being almost stuck at home with children, and it was a big change for me. And I lost myself, and a lot of mums do when they have children. And I really, really did lose myself, and I struggled initially, like about my not my purpose, but my bigger goals, my bigger ambitions. And then when I decided to take the plunge into property full time and set up the business, I went on various courses, and everyone says you've got to find your niche. And I was overthinking everything. But at the same time as this happening, because I was just launching the business, I was having challenges being a mum in property, because I would want to go to viewings, and the times that they could do, I would have my children with me. So I'd think, oh, well, I can't go do that viewing because I've got the kids with me. It's not professional. And I had this image in my head, because I've always been so career driven, that I had to keep this professional image. And I was losing out on opportunities, basically. And then suddenly there was one day I needed to go and view these auction properties, and they could only do this specific time. There was 3 properties back to back. And I just thought, you know what, if I don't go, I'm going to miss it. So I had to take the kids along with me. And actually, it was fine. And it was almost like a light bulb moment, because I thought that I'm holding myself back. No one else is telling me I can't take the kids on these viewings, or that they can't be in the background when I've got a Zoom call. It's me telling myself that. And then that's where the branding Mums in Property came from. And I felt as soon as I leaned into that, everything else just blossomed.
I love it. And that's why I asked that question, because I think it is so right that you're giving the mums in property an identity. I know there's those that champion for we're just in property. Like, you don't have to
Yeah.
say mum or woman or whatever, like, you know, like female CEO. But actually, there is so much that comes, like you've just explained. There is so much emotion and mental thoughts that come through being that mum, new mum with 3 kids in a role that you are taken on that you've not done before. You've not done it as a mum before, and now you're having to change your schedule, your activities. So yeah, it is important to give it an identity and to give it a life. And I'm not a mum, but I can really appreciate how mums listening to that would be grateful that they are seen, you know, like juggling the kids, missing out on appointments, feeling like you don't belong because you've got kids. You know, that's just so valuable. Really, really amazing.
Yeah, I almost felt in the beginning, and again, just my own barriers, not that anyone else put this on upon me, but I almost felt embarrassed a little bit to be a mum that had children at home whilst I was trying to build a business and be professional. And I never intended to set out a brand as a label as mums in property, but it just naturally went down that road. And when I sat back and thought about it, I don't need to find a niche in anything else because this is who I am. I am a mum. I'm in property and this is what I'm about. And I started really just by sharing my journey and sharing the challenges so that other mums, whether they were in property or in business, they knew actually you can still be really professional, really career driven, but also you can follow your ambition and you can juggle. It's not easy, but it is definitely possible.
And you absolutely, and that's what this show is about. We've had so many women coming on the show that have had a child, two, three children, who put their career on pause. Then they came back. Then they, like some of them have had like a phenomenal career. Then they had a baby out of the blue by, like an unexpectedly, and then they're like, oh my god, is this gonna ruin the career that I have built? And it has. Ultimately you will make it work. Whatever's important to you, you will find a way to make something work. And that's what you're doing. You're saying the children are important to me, but so is Chloe, this property like entrepreneurial queen. You also still coexist, and that's just beautiful to see you do it. Because again, like I said, I'm not a mum, so I don't know how that would look like. But to be completely honest, and I have been honest on all my shows where I've said the prospect of becoming a mum at some point, because I know I want to be, does scare me a little bit, because I'm like, well, what do I do with my weightlifting passion, like, or going to the gym, and what happens about when I want to fly off to Dubai with Matt and have like a weekend away, because we go away a lot, like you were saying about jet setting, like we are just so free to do whatever we want. And what's going to happen with my business? Like I am building my office in the shed, I'm going to have to build a nursery. So there are these hesitations of still today, even though you are proof. And if I could like copy the recipe of how you're doing it, I would love that recipe, but it's just not going to feel the same. I'm going to have to find my own feet. And
Yeah.
so are the women listening, whoever's feeling the hesitation, there's no copy and
I
paste,
think if
right?
you really sat, like they say, there's never a right time for children, is there? And had we made a decision, my partner and I would have been like, no, because exactly all the reasons that you've just given, because I need to do this, I need to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to progress. But it happened and we had to deal with that. And like I say, I lost myself. But actually, when I then came into property full time, I got my spark back. And honestly, it gave me a new lease of life. I was happy to be with the children all day and either go to a networking event till 11, half 11 at night, come home, work on my laptop, because it didn't feel like work. I was so much enjoying it. It honestly, it just lifted me again. And then that's when I realized actually I can still follow my ambitions and my goals. I can absolutely do that. I don't have to wait until the kids are at school or whatever. I can do it now. I've just got to find a way that works for me, my business, and my family. And it is really, that is the recipe. It's as simple as that. You've got to go at your own pace. You're not following someone else's how fast they go. You go at your pace and what's right for you.
Yeah, there's literally nothing I can add to that. That is the perfect answer, because like I was saying, even though I can look at all these examples and find proof that it is doable, that you can do it all, that's their journey, that's their priorities, that's their mechanics, their methods. They've got different resources and tools to me. I might have other ways that I can cope with certain things. So yeah, you have to navigate it. And there is no right time to start a business. Like my business,
Yeah,
most people are like, how do you do it? And I'm thinking, I had no choice but to do it. I had to make it
yeah,
work. But most people have perhaps the money, and they won't start a business. I didn't have money, but they'll find a different limitation to hold back and say, oh, I can't do it because
yeah.
yeah, it's our
Because there's
limiting.
always a
Uh,
reason, isn't there?
yeah, there's always a reason to hold back. I totally get that because of fear, fear of failure or fear of not doing it. So, okay, so let's talk about property itself. So you're a big advocate for property. You love property. What kind of deals would you say is quite lucrative right now, regardless of who you are? Like, what kind of deals do you love doing? Where do you see, given the state that we're in the UK, like, what is doable?
So, me personally, I love anything that is to do with renovations. I love to renovate, I love to add value, and I love to transform. So, I love bringing properties from tired, rundown states, obviously, into modern, contemporary finishes. So, that's what I'm really, really passionate about. And I think, in terms of what's profitable now, it really does depend on your strategy. But in terms of cash flow, as we know, HMOs are a great way of bringing in that cash flow, and you can still add value to a property by renovating it and converting it to a HMO, whether that's from a commercial property or whether that is from a residential property. But obviously, HMOs come with their challenges as well. So they are a lot noisier because you've got more tenants in one property, there's more legislation, etc. So it does depend on your appetite, really. What is it that you're looking for? What is your end goal? Because that's going to determine what kind of strategies you do. And you don't have to stick with that strategy for life, although some people do, but it will navigate at least initially where your path is going.
And how do you help people get into property? Because I know you invest it for yourself, but for example, like with myself and Matt, we're great examples, and we can certainly vouch for what you're doing for us. But for those people who don't know exactly, how do you work and what do you do to help people get into the world of property?
So, because I'd been doing renovations prior to fully getting into business 18 months ago, I've been doing renovations for years. I'm from a small town where we kind of know everybody. So, I've got the relationships with the local agents, with the tradesmen. I've used the tradesmen myself. And I am a relationship person anyway. And I just, that's what I believe in. And basically, before I even set up the business, I would get local estate agents because they knew I was always looking for things. They'd phone me up and say, Chloe, I've got this property coming on. Do you want to come and have a look for it before it goes live? And I'd go up and have a little look round. So I kind of was sourcing, or in the sourcing element, before I even set up in business. Like, I had those relationships going. But now what I do is I've obviously grown those relationships further. So I don't just work with agents, I work with general people, like just general people that have got property to sell, that they maybe don't want to put it on the open market. And basically, I'll find a property, whether I work bespokely with someone, or sometimes an agent will just phone me up and they've got a property available. And I'll run the numbers, see what we can do with it, see if it's going to be profitable for an investor. And then I will basically sell that deal on to an investor. And sometimes they will just then take over from that point, and that it might be a turnkey property where they don't need to do anything, or it might be that they're going to do the renovations themselves. Or in like the example of yourself and Matt, I can do full end-to-end service. So I source the property, I move it along through legals and financing and things, and then on the back end, I will also then coordinate the refurbishments and hand it over when it's a ready to go business.
Yes, and that's exactly what we're doing with yourself, me and Matt. I mean, it hasn't gone through yet at the time of recording this, but how we feel as property investors, just in case there's anyone else that feels like that, is that I'm in the industry, obviously, building brands, building content, building campaigns for people in property and finance. I've also worn the hat of business development manager for a lender. So I understand like the lending aspect. I understand how to, look at property deals, but I'm running a business. I'm also building another business with the AI app. I run female events. I run like retreats events. I'm speaking on stage. So I'm running up and down the country here, there and everywhere. And that was one limitation when we were looking at doing property more seriously in terms of investing. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy. Even though I'm in property, I'm like
Yeah,
the doctor, the surgeon who's in the theatre room, hasn't got time to do anything else. They're in the theatre room. So even though they're a doctor, they can't necessarily, they're in there. So I've got to concentrate on that. And then Matt's got a full-time job. So we've got the income, we've got the investment value there, but we haven't got the time. So
yeah.
that's when we realized we needed someone to do a lot of the hands-on stuff. But then we were
And
going back.
also sometimes the contacts as well, because that does take a
Yeah.
long time to build those relationships.
And I was just about to say, then the other challenge was, well, we could do something local because I've got the contacts local. I know builders, my dad's in the trade. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, so potentially I could be a project manager, but I have like a build team local. But then the local strategy for me doesn't work here because in Hitchin, the house prices are too high. There's no rental value unless you're going to keep it for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
And then you kind of reap the rewards in the future, but it wasn't going to give us the cash flow because of the mortgage rate. So we were like, what? We've got the contacts here, but not the strategy. But if we
Yeah.
go further afield where we can get the cash flow, we haven't got the contacts. So literally that was how
Something has to give.
yeah. So when we were putting the puzzle together, that's where we were like, okay, we're going to need someone like Chloe. And we interviewed so many people, as like people who were promising the world, then they disappeared on us, and people who were like, yeah, we can do X, Y, Z, but we're charging more than the property was even worth. And we
Yeah.
were like, we just need a happy balance of we will put in the cash, it will take out it's in our name, but we need someone on site with the contacts to manage it. And that's why we picked the north, because what are the areas that you specialize in?
So I literally just stick to Sheffield and Chesterfield. It's the areas I've grown up in, it's the areas I've got the contacts in, and it's the areas that I know inside out, road to road. So I am really specific. I do get people obviously from other areas, as I've built my brand, that will phone me up and say, I've got this property in so and so. So occasionally I will pass that on to someone, but my area where I target is literally Sheffield and Chesterfield.
Yeah, and that's why we are looking at Sheffield now, because we had a deal together in Chesterfield, didn't go through, it fell through. And then you came back with another backup deal in Sheffield. So that's the one that we're currently working on. And we have chosen the HMO strategy with the transformation, haven't we? So that we can add value to the property. So it's all exciting. I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but
It's exciting.
it is exciting, and it's gone really far ahead at the moment. So yeah, all fingers crossed. But what can an area like Sheffield and Chesterfield give us? What's positive about those areas? What's achievable in those areas? What's the appetite in that area?
I mean, Sheffield got so much going for it because it's got the universities. There is Article 4, but as we know with the property we're working on for yourself and Matt, it sits just outside Article 4. So we've got leeway to play. There's still some really good juicy areas, both for student lets and for professional HMO lets as well. But obviously with Sheffield, I mean, I am biased because I live here, but we've literally got the Peak District on our doorstep. It's like city Peak District. I can only in fact, I had this conversation last night at an event. It's almost like, do you know when you see the aerial picture of New York, where you've got the strip of the
Yeah.
city and then the parks? It's almost what Sheffield is like. That's how close the Peak District is to us. And we're so lucky to have that. So that draws a lot of people in. And also the retention for students staying after university in Sheffield is one of the highest in the UK because of the lifestyle that it offers. So yeah, I think for Sheffield, you can get really great house prices, so we can buy fairly low, we can add great value, and we can get the yields with the rentals as well. So not only do we have possibility with the HMOs, professional and student, we've got opportunities with SAs because of the Peak District, and then we've got obviously opportunities with your standard buy-to-lets as well.
Yeah, no, I'm so excited to be, doing something in Sheffield. I was there the other day filming for a separate content day. I was there with George, who you
Yeah.
very closely work with, George from Real Finance. So we were filming content there, and I was looking at a development from his client, transforming an old factory with quite some problematic land because the land is like on it because Sheffield is very hilly. So
Built
this
on the Seven Hills.
Seven Hills, exactly. So this one being a bit problematic with like the land and the sewage and the basements and things like that. So he's now
But
converted.
also overlooks the park.
It does overlook the park. It looks amazing. Yeah, had the city views. But yeah, basically, he's converted that factory into 12 town houses for families. So, and he's going to move into one of them. So it's just
Yeah.
so
It's a fab project.
yeah, it's a fab project. I'll be posting about it soon, if it's not already out there. So, Chloe, before we come to the end, I really want to talk about your contribution to our community, especially from a female event point of view. You said you host events, and our community needs that. So, tell me a little bit about how you've brought this community together and your vision for our industry. I guess what would you like to see as a mum in property? How can we improve? How can we change?
So obviously I started the podcast with my co-host, which really sort of started a mum community and kept getting people reaching out to me with really, really lovely messages saying how it inspired them and it gave them the motivation to keep going when they were having down days. And that's really the message that I'm trying to sort of spread is, yes, it is hard, whether you're a mum or not, like, let's be real, it is hard. Business is hard. Life is hard. But that's okay. And it's okay to talk about that. And it's okay to share them challenges. You don't have to keep a face and be like, oh, yeah, everything is sunshine and roses, because it's not. Be open. Find someone that you can have these conversations with or accountability. And because the more we talk about it, the more we realize that this is normal. And some, like I found with my co-host Jade, I would have these conversations with her and I'd say, oh, I've had a really difficult week this week because X, Y, and Z. And she'd say, oh, well, that happened to me last week. And then this then happened. So it would lift me up. And then vice versa, the next week would be the similar conversation. So I really just want to build a community of women where we say, look, it's not easy, but it is doable. Let's support one another in whatever way we can. And let's work together, because you don't have to be good at everything. So just because you want to be an investor or you want to be a sourcer or whatever it is you want to be, you don't have to do all elements of that business. But if you've got someone you can sort of speak to and they're maybe good at marketing and they can give you a few tips on marketing, great. And then you help them in another way. I think this industry is really about giving rather than receiving, and then it will come back tenfold to you.
Well, yeah. I mean, this industry in your Chloe's world is about giving, because you're that type of person. But personally, I don't think in the grand scheme of things that property is about giving.
Yeah, maybe
If I
not
may
as a
challenge
whole.
that as a whole.
Yeah,
But if you surround yourself with people like Chloe, the
yeah,
Money Honey community, and so many of the other fabulous women that I can nominate and mention, but you'll probably see me with them on social media and everything. There are good environments, there are really
yeah,
good connections, but yeah, sometimes, it can be like, just like the finance world or any industry, there's that cutthroat,
yeah.
and we see people like when they go even to buy a property, like what, they come into some conflicts with the estate agent, or they come into conflicts with, it's an industry that there's a lot of improvement to be made.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It can be very cutthroat, and
Yeah.
it is about finding your people. Find
Yes.
your people, find your community, and if there isn't one, build it. And
Yes. Yes.
I feel that's what I've sort of starting with mums in property. Not that it's a massive community at all, but it started by I found Jade, and we now like really, really, really good friends. And then you just start to build your own small community. It doesn't have to be mass people, but build your community of people that you can rely on, you can trust, you can speak openly and honestly, and you have each other's back, because that's what's important.
Yeah, that's what I love. Sometimes, on the darkest days or the days where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just in my head, I'll text this like WhatsApp chat. And we've got it's called Property Queens. And we've got
Oh,
this
I love that.
we've got this cute like chat that we didn't create it. There's not that many people in it. It's literally just a few of us who tend to like, we were always texting each other. So we were like, should we just make a group? Because, we
Yeah,
all need
because you're
another group,
texting
right?
anyway
Yeah, because
about
you're
these
texting anyway.
challenges.
So we just literally go into that group, and there's so much value and support. And that group, even if it's not my problem of the day, the fact that I can see women supporting each other really gives me hope and restores my faith in women, or restores my faith in humanity, of like, actually, when you surround yourself with the good people, you do get lifted up, and your spirits are higher. So that's what's important. Really
It's
quickly,
about quality over quantity,
quality.
isn't it? Surround
Oh my
yourself with
God.
the right people.
Yes. Like, for example, if I was to go out and like organize a night out, I used to think like I had to try and get like 100 girls together or 50 girls together. Now my favorite night out is a glass of wine with a friend privately in the corner, no one looking at us, just us two talking to each other.
Yeah.
And even with clients as well, like I've tried to do the big events, even the event that you came to, the Social Selling Hive, that had like at most 20 delegates that were
Yeah.
there, plus, in total 30 with speakers. That for me was like a concert. Like that was just too big for me, because I was like,
Yeah.
I want intimate time and one-to-one time with people. And don't get me wrong, I'll be the first on the dance floor if there's one huge party. But yeah, it's just that quality of relationships that really make my day. It's just a different vibe.
Because coming back to it, what we said in the beginning, it's property and business is about people. It's about
Exactly. It's
personal
personal.
relationships.
Yeah. That's why I was saying, you're a business development person. You've always been a people person. And then people say, oh, don't take business personal. I'm like, but it is personal, because I'm talking to
Yeah.
people, and I'm dealing with people, and I'm dealing with their money or their emotions or their highs and lows. Of course, I'm going to take it personal, as in my heart is on my sleeve, and I'm up when you're up and I'm down when you're down. I am.
And absolutely that. And also, yeah, I know they say don't like you don't need to be friends, but how can you not become friends naturally when you're learning about people's lives? Like you say, you're dealing with either their money or you're dealing with their goals and their dreams, their aspirations.
Exactly.
How can that not become a friendship? Because you're really getting to unravel a person and know about them.
Honestly, Chloe, I see people like on the edge of wanting to give their business up. I'm like, listen, like, I have to give them a pep talk. I thought the talk was going to be about content, like content ideas, but then it turns into therapy, because they're like, my business is down right now. It's really tough out there. And then I'm like, no, let's do something about it. So yeah, 1 minute I think I can't just be a robot and just be like, no, sorry, we're just talking about content today. Can't talk about
Yeah,
anything
that's all
else. You
I've
know what I
come
mean?
for.
Like, exactly. So, final question was, you've been a TV star, right? You've been on TV with Property Elevator. So we've got a star amongst us. Tell me a little bit about your experience with that, like pitching the deal to the investors.
So, yeah, I did the Property Elevator TV show, which is due to be aired, I believe, this month on Amazon Prime. And then I did the follow up. Well, I applied again and went on the live audience show, which was in front of over 400 people. But both times, yeah, I'm really weird, but I buzz off stuff like that because I love the challenge. I love putting myself outside my comfort zone, and I really thrive in those kind of environments. So yeah, it for me, I know, like, I don't want to be thinking, but it wasn't really nerve wracking. I seen it as an opportunity. Whether I got the investment or I didn't get the investment, I was just happy to be in front of the judges, the angels, and present a deal to them and get feedback. That's what it was. That was what was most important to me, to get feedback, to show that the deals I'm working on are the right kind of deals. So yeah, it was such an amazing opportunity. I would definitely recommend to anyone thinking about applying next time to do it.
I think I love that attitude, Chloe, because I think most people would deny themselves that opportunity because of the fear of the camera or the TV or speaking in public, but they're missing the gain from it. As in, if
Yeah,
you just focused on what you would gain from it, rather than focusing on the cameras and the TV, focus on like the feedback, the knowledge, the environment that you're in, the exposure of the people that you're
yeah.
being seen by. That's so much more gain than just having to deal with a camera for the day.
Yeah, and you've got the thing is, the best things happen when we put ourselves outside our comfort zone. If we stay safe, we're just going to keep plodding along in one lane. We've got to push ourselves. But I remember, so when I did, so I'd already done the TV show, and then I did the live audience, and my partner came with me, and I made him sit on the front row because I like to be at the front,
Yes,
and
front seat.
yeah, and he was literally kept going to me. He was like tapping me, going, "Are you nervous? Are you nervous? I'm really nervous for you. I'm so nervous for you," because he would never do anything like that. And I was going, "I'm not nervous at all. I'm so excited. Like I can't wait to get up there."
Yeah, me too. Oh my God, Chloe. When I'm off stage and people are like, oh, do you still get nervous? I'm like, no, I can't wait for them to get off the stage so I can get on. I'm like,
Yeah,
I literally need them. Oh, but I'm nervous because I think it's the excitement. And I think I
yeah,
heard Beyonce say it once where butterflies in your stomach, have the exact same feeling if it's nerves or excitement. So when you're
yeah,
excited, you have butterflies in your stomach. When you're nervous, you have butterflies in your stomach. So
yeah,
either way, you've got butterflies in your stomach. You might as well make it a positive experience. You might as
yeah,
well turn that nervous energy into excitement. And I'm actually more nervous off stage than I am on stage, because when I get on stage, it's performance time and I don't think about me anymore. I think about you as the audience. What are you going to get out of it? How do I give you the best experience? Whereas off stage, I'm like, right, I've got to go through this, I'm probably
yeah.
overthinking off stage, but on stage, I'm like, just do it. Like, just get
I
on with
think
it.
that's the key thing. Everyone overthinks everything. Where is if you just do it? Like, what is the worst that can happen? So, for example, with the property elevator show, the worst that can happen is they say no. That's it.
Yeah.
But you've got the exposure, you've had the opportunity, and honestly, I can say that when you do put yourself in these situations, the amount of more opportunities that follow, like I said in the beginning, it becomes a snowball effect. So yeah, I'm all for anything like that. And for me, all these little things have all led on to bigger things, and I've been really grateful for every single one.
Guys, people listening, go check out the Property Elevator show if you want to find out how the result, what the result was. Did she get the investment? Didn't she? If you've already watched it, then don't spoil it for anyone else. Please check out Chloe on all her socials. We'll put it in the show notes because you don't want to miss anything that she's hosting, launching, talking about. You want to be in the know. And so her socials are also very, very empowering for women as well, because she often posts about her and her children and family. So please do go and check it out. And of course, if you want to know more about property and stay up to date with like lucrative property opportunities, then I've seen Chloe post about that as well. So be sure to follow Chloe, check her out. Chloe, once again, thank you so much for being a money honey. It means so much to have your voice, your face, be a part of this community. And thank you for spending your time.
Thank you so much for having me, Roz. It's been lovely.